Am I a booktuber now? Hello and welcome to or back to my channel. I am so excited to be filming another book video for you guys. I'm doing my June reading wrap up and my July TBR, and I just need a place to talk about books more, and I love watching these videos so much, so I thought I would film my own. And I'm so excited to get into all these books and then all this really good summer book recs that I have that I'm looking forward to reading. So yeah, let's just dive right into this because I have 6 books here and a bunch of books to show you that we're gonna get to. The first book that I read this month was Mary Jane, and I love this book so much. I gave it a 4.5 stars. It's about a 14-year-old girl in the 1970s who's raised by a really strict traditional household, and she goes to nanny for a super open, more crazy in the views of the 70s, and that family just changes her life, and you see how the girl just develops and like learns the real ways of the world and how there's different perspectives out there, and that was just so cool to see. It was such a good coming of age story, and there was a really good like found family. There is a real family, but they're also involved with some famous rock stars and famous actors, and they come in, they just become a really cute found family. So I love this book, and it's also a really good summer read. You can tell by the cover, like the cover is gorgeous. Love this so much. They go on a little beach trip all together, so this is also a really good summer book. And the next book I read is Heartless, which is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series. And first of all, can I say that these covers are the prettiest covers I've ever seen. Like this one especially, I mean, this is just like my aesthetic to a T, so I'm obsessed with it. And the books are just as good inside. They are, I know it's not actually a small town, but they are on a farm and they are cowboys, and that's the whole vibe of this series. But this book especially is about one of the brothers who is a single father, and the kid though like isn't annoying, like he is portrayed perfectly, and so he is looking for a nanny, and so it's a nanny single father trope, and it was just so good and so wholesome, and I just love the vibes and the atmosphere of this entire series. So I really recommend these, especially as a summer read. And the next book I read was Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune, and I was obsessed with Every Summer After last summer. I still am obsessed with that book. I think it's so good, other than the plot twist, if you know, you know. That was like my book of the summer, so I was so excited for this, and it definitely let me down. I think I gave this a 3 stars. Yeah, I gave this 3 stars because I think I really like Carly Fortune's writing. I think she gets an atmosphere and a vibe, and she writes romances a little deeper than just like a romance, which is what I look for in a book. But for some reason the romance fell flat to me, and this is a second chance romance, which I usually love. Like I eat up a second chance romance, but their second chance was that they like connected with each other for one single day when they were like 22 and fell in love, but they never saw each other again for 9 years. And then the girl is kind of groveling more once you see them when they're a lot older, like in their 30s. So I don't know, I just like didn't feel like that was that realistic, and like I wasn't so connected to their second chance when they have only known each other for one day, you know. It was still worth the read, and such a good summer atmosphere on the lake, of course, so that was great. This would be a really good beach read, but it just wasn't my favorite and definitely did not live up to the Every Summer After hype. And then next I read Ricochet, which is the second book in the Addicted Calloway Sisters series, and this was so good, but I gave it a 3.5 stars. I just don't think it was like as entertaining as the first book. It was more of a book that like kind of wrapped things up a little bit and like gave us more info so that the series can keep going. And I did love like the character development in this. If you don't know, this series is about a sex addict and an alcoholic who are dating, so that is really interesting in everything that unfolds, and I feel like I can't give too much away of what happens in this book without spoiling the first book. So this was really good, but just not like so in love. But I really loved the like bits and pieces of the side characters that we're getting in this book, and I know that we start to get them like more and more as the series progresses, so I'm so excited to get more of those side characters. Next, I read Archer's Voice, and I don't know how or why I put off reading this for so long. I know that this is so many people's like favorite book ever, but I think because it was so hyped, I like just kind of put it off. But this was amazing. 5 stars, like 6 stars. I loved this. I ate it up, and the characters were so amazing. The small town was so amazing. Just so good and so much deeper than a regular romance. Like there was so many layers to this and so much trauma. You should probably look up the trigger warnings before you read this, but there was, both of the main characters had a lot of trauma in their past, and they come together, and I kind of went into this blind. I didn't know what the whole actual Archer's Voice means, and I feel like I would recommend that you do the same. So I'm not gonna like give too much of the summary of the plot, but this was just so good, and the characters were amazing, and there was a lot of twists and turns in this, although it wasn't romance, so I also loved that. And the last book that I read this month was Caraval, and I read this book and this series, or I started reading this series because I really want to get to the Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I forget what the second book is called, but that series, you're supposed to read this before you read that because you get a lot of background. And I heard that like people don't like this as much and you don't really need to read it, but I was like, if it comes before, I'm gonna read it. I loved this. I gave it 4 stars. Like I maybe would have given it 5 stars if I didn't hear any opinions. I need to like think about it more if it is a 4 or a 5. Maybe it's a 4.5. But this was so good, and I was not expecting it. It was just so whimsical and fun, and so many twists and turns. Like I read this so fast because I was like, what's gonna happen? There's so many cliffhangers, and it was crazy. So basically there is 2 sisters, and they are really close to each other, but their dad is horrible to them. And in this world there is a big game that goes on every year, and they get invited to play the game. One of the sisters gets kidnapped, and the other one has to finish and complete the game to find her sister and get her back. And so that's really high stakes, really fun. There was so many twists and turns. I just have no other words to describe it other than that. So this was really good, and I'm looking forward to read the rest of the series. And if people say that like these are their least favorite and that Once Upon a Broken Heart is like even better, I'm so excited for those because I loved this. I'm gonna go through my TBR pretty fast because obviously I don't know the plot of these that much, and I'm really just looking for beach summer reads for July because I'm going to be on Cape Cod for basically all of July. So I just found the most beachy reads ever. First book that I'm so excited for is the Garnett Girls, and I think this is a new release. I really don't know too much about it, or honestly any of the books on my TBR I don't know too much about. I like to go into things kind of blind, but I think it's about 3 sisters who their parents kind of like walked away, or something like bad happened between their parents, so they're kind of like a fractured family trying to work it out, and I think the sisters will have like a really good bond because of that. And then I really want to read It Happened One Summer. I've kind of put this off for a long time because it's based on Schitt's Creek, and like Schitt's Creek is like funny obviously, but like I wasn't looking for that in a book, but I have to read it. And this is, so it's basically about like this LA socialite has to go live, I think it's Maine, I could be mistaken, but she has to go live in like a beach small town and falls in love as that happens. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how this goes. And then I really want to read The Summer on the Bluffs. This is such a cute cover, and it's like a group of girls who all have like a beach house together, and they all go there, and it's like their last summer at the house, and they all want the house separately, I think. Something like that. Again, I'm not gonna be describing these really good because I haven't read them yet, but I'm so excited to get into this. It sounds really good, and I've only seen rave reviews. And then I have one fantasy on my July TBR. This is The House in the Cerulean Sea, and I think this is just like a really fun, whimsical book. It's about kids who all have superpowers and they live in this house together. The next book is Same Time Next Summer, and this is a second chance romance, childhood friends to lovers, everything that I love. And I think they have beach houses that were right next to each other as children, which is just everything I love. So excited for this. I'll probably read this on like one day at the beach because I love this kind of book. And then I have 28 Summers by Ellen Hildebrandt. I'm also currently reading The Hotel Nantucket by Ellen Hildebrandt, and it's going so well so far. I love it, so I'm so excited to read more of her books. And 28 Summers, I'm pretty sure, is about a couple that has an affair every summer for just like a weekend. So I think that seems really intriguing. I'd love to see how that unfolds. And then last we have The Infinity Between Us, and this is kind of like that same second chance childhood friends to lovers type of situation, but the main characters, their families own a beach house together and it's about to be sold. So the female main character goes to sell it and the boy's there and it's like, we can't sell it, and everything unfolds. So excited for this and all of my summer reads. That's like a lot of books, so that's more like my summer TBR than just my July TBR, but I am going to be at the beach for 2 weeks, so hopefully I will get to a lot of reading while I'm just sitting there tanning. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any really good summer beach recs for me, and yeah, I hope you enjoy, and let me know if you want more book videos because I love filming them and I love talking about books. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and I'll see you in my next video.